Well, Israel has in fact stepped up its activity, particularly in the centre and south of Gaza, with numerous airstrikes and tanks on the ground bombarding Hamas targets. Khan Yunis was said to have come under particular bombardment on Tuesday, both in its eastern and northern districts, with the Israeli military targeting suspected Hamas strongholds. Now, elsewhere, the military has also reported that it has secured control of another Hamas stronghold in the north of Gaza, what they refer to as an intelligence and control center located 20 meters underground and extremely close to both hospitals, schools and civilian buildings. Now, the Israeli Navy has also continued to support the ground offensive while firing on targets in Gaza's coastal zones. This as raids continue with ground forces. They've reported to have found both weapons stockpiles, production facilities, and indeed long-range missile launchers. Now, elsewhere, we do know that the Israeli military is looking at a potential drawdown of some of its forces in Gaza, beginning to shift to what it's referred to as a lower intensity form of combat, at least in the north, with several thousand troops due to leave over the weeks ahead. Now, after 3 months, this would mean that it's a chance for some reservists, at least, to return to civilian life, as the Israeli military focuses more on mopping up operations and targeting much more closely Hamas strongholds rather than a general sense of war throughout the Gaza Strip. Now, for the military, it is a matter of rotating those soldiers out. The government has said that the war is due to last for months ahead and possibly all the way through 2024. So it's really a matter for those soldiers to get the rest they need before they're likely to rotate back in. At this point, we know that at least 2 brigades containing 4,000 troops each, they'll be rotating out as early as this week.
And at the same time, Luke, Israel announcing as well that residents who live in 7 Israeli communities not far from the Gaza border can return home soon. What can you tell us about that?
Well, what we've heard at this point is the Israeli defense minister saying that recommendations from the military have indicated that it may be possible soon to send those Israelis who have evacuated from areas around the Gaza envelope, particularly from 4 to 7 kilometers away from the Gaza Strip, who may be able to return home. Now, I remind you that the Gaza envelope, the area of territory immediately surrounding Gaza, was evacuated very quickly following the October 7th attack. It's been largely empty since then, except for a military presence, with the danger of incursions, at least in the early stages of the war, and still continued rocket attacks. We've heard alarms and alerts go out as Hamas launch rockets into those areas. Now, there's an estimated 200,000 Israelis who were evacuated to hotels around the country. The government has put a budget in place to pay for their stay. And while some have been back to retrieve belongings, they've done so under heavy escort. A few brave people returning home. However, there has been some criticism from some quarters, particularly from the mayor of Sderot. Now, Sderot is very close to the Gaza border, just a couple of kilometers away from northern Gaza. And he's refusing to send people back until there is some specific plan in place by the government to assure civilian safety.
Luke Shrago.